Chapter 15. Celibacy. Swami X stated the following in one of his lessons: unmarried people can spiritually unite the natural creative force of the soul within themselves by learning the correct method of meditation and its application to physical life. Such people do not have to pass through the material experience of matrimony. They can learn to marry their feminine physical impulse with the masculine impulse of their internal soul. If our beloved Gnostic disciples reflect on Swami X's words, they will reach the conclusion that they are manifestly absurd. This idea of marrying the feminine physical impulse with the masculine impulse of the internal soul is 100% false. This type of utopian marriage is impossible because man has not yet incarnated the soul. With whom, then, is he going to marry his feminine physical impulse? The intellectual animal still does not have a soul. Whoever wishes to incarnate their soul, whosoever yearns to be a man with soul, must have the astral, mental, and causal bodies. The human being of this day and age still does not have these internal vehicles. The astral specter, the mental specter, and the causal specter are only specters. The majority of occultists believe these internal specters are the true vehicles, and they are very mistaken. We need to be born in the superior worlds, and this matter of being born is a sexual problem. No human being is born a theory. Not even a simple microbe can be born of theories. No one is born through the nostrils nor through the mouth. Every living being is born of sex. As above, so below. If man is born of sex here in the physical world, it is logical that in the internal worlds above, the process is analogous. Law is law, and the law is fulfilled. The Christ astral is born just as the body of flesh and blood is born. It is sexual. Only with sexual magic between husband and wife can one give birth to that marvelous body. We can say the same for the mental and causal. We need to engender those internal bodies, and that is only possible with sexual contact because as above, so below, and as below, so above. No celibate person can marry his feminine physical impulse with the masculine of his internal soul because no celibate person can incarnate his soul. To incarnate the soul, we must engender the internal bodies, and only through the sexual union of man and woman can they be engendered. No single man or woman can procreate. The two poles are necessary to create, that is life. It is necessary to engender the internal vehicles. It is necessary to be born in the superior worlds. Celibacy is an absolutely false path. We need the perfect matrimony. After birth, each vehicle needs its special nourishment. Only with this special nourishment does it totally develop and strengthen itself. The nourishment of those vehicles is based on hydrogens. The different types of hydrogens which nourish man's various internal bodies are fabricated within the physical organism. Laws of the bodies. Physical body, this, is governed by 48 laws. Its basic nourishment is hydrogen 48. Astral body, this vehicle is subject to 24 laws. Its basic nourishment is hydrogen 24. Mental body, this vehicle is subject to 12 laws. Its basic nourishment is hydrogen 12. Causal body, this vehicle is governed by 6 laws. Its basic nourishment is hydrogen 6. Every substance is transformed into a specific type of hydrogen. Thus, just as substances and life forms are infinite, the hydrogens are likewise infinite. The internal bodies have their special hydrogen, and they are nourished with them. Swami X was only a monk. We have been told that soon, this good monk will have to reincarnate in order to marry and profoundly self-realize. He is a beautiful disciple of the White Lodge. He believed he was self-realized in the superior worlds. He was greatly surprised when we had to make his mistake known to him in the temple. Indeed, this good monk has not yet engendered his Christic bodies. He needs to engender them. This is a sexual problem. These wonderful internal bodies can only be engendered with sexual magic. We give notice to our critics that we are not speaking against Swami X. His exercises are wonderful and very useful. But we do clarify that no one can profoundly realize with the bellows system. Many schools exist, all of them are necessary. All of them serve to help the human being, but it is good warning that we cannot engender the internal bodies with any theory. We have never witnessed anyone being born from a theory. We have not yet met a human being who was born from theories. There exist very respectable and venerable schools. These institutions have their courses of instruction and degrees. Some of them also have rituals of initiation. However, in the superior worlds, the degrees and initiations from these schools are useless. The masters of the White Lodge are not interested in the degrees and hierarchies of the physical world. They are only interested in the Kundalini. They examine and measure the spinal cord. If the candidate has not raised the serpent for them, he is simply profane like anyone else, even if he occupies some high position in the physical world, and even when his school, or lodge, is very venerable, or he is some supreme hierarch. If the Kundalini has risen 3 vertebrae, he is considered by the masters to be an initiate of the 3rd degree, and if only 1 vertebra, an initiate of the 1st degree. So the masters are only interested in the Kundalini. Indeed, those who abandon everything in order to work in their cavern with their eagle and their serpent are very few. It is something for heroes, and this present humanity does not abandon its lodges and schools in order to remain alone with its eagle and its serpent. Students of all organizations are not even loyal to their schools. They live flitting from lodge to lodge, school to school, and thus, they supposedly want to profoundly self-realize. We feel infinite pain when we see these fickle brethren. Many of them practice wonderful exercises. Certainly, there are many good practices in all schools. The practices of Yogananda, Vivekananda, Ramacharaka, etc., are admirable. Students practice them with very good intentions. There are very sincere students. We greatly appreciate all those students and all those schools. Nonetheless, we feel so much irremediable pain for those who search for their final liberation with such yearning. We know they must engender their internal bodies. We know they must practice sexual magic. We know that, only with sexual magic, will they be able to awaken the sacred fire and engender their internal vehicles in order to incarnate their soul. We know this through our own experience. But what can we do to convince them? We, the brethren, suffer greatly and without remedy. On the former Earth Moon, millions of human beings evolved, and from all of those millions, only a few hundred elevated themselves to the angelic state. The vast majority of human beings were lost. The vast majority plunged into the abyss. Many are called, and few are chosen. If we observe nature, we see that not all seeds germinate. Millions of seeds are lost, and millions of creatures perish daily. It is a sad truth, but it is the truth. Every celibate person is a sure candidate for the abyss and the second death. Only those who have elevated themselves to the state of Superman can give to themselves the luxury of enjoying the delights of love without sexual contact. We then penetrate the amphitheater of cosmic science. Nobody can attain the incarnation of the Superman within himself without sexual magic and perfect matrimony.